Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Treasures. My name's Tracy, and as usual, here with my husband, Noel. Hello, I love discounts. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. How was everybody's weekend? Hi, Trish. I had a pretty good weekend, except I was up late last night shipping because my son, who normally helps me ship on Sundays, had some car trouble, so I had to do it by myself. Which, after you get used to having somebody help you, then having to go back to by yourself, let's just say it was a very late night. Good morning, Kelly's Place. Laurel, hello. Not long enough. Trameltoe, I am with you. The weekends are never long enough. Never, never, never. Hello, Kim. So did anybody catch the episode of the Reselling Roundtable last night? Mary, good morning. Good morning. I was going to see you in the vintage. Yeah, so okay, before we talk about Reselling Roundtable, nope, you didn't see it. I Love Discounts. Awesome podcast. Totally recommend that you should check it out. Jeremy mentioned this, and I had started to notice it, but then once he mentioned it, I'm like, let's put this a little more thought. Has anybody else noticed that the community category doesn't seem to be community shows so much anymore? Was I on your watch list? Awesome. Good morning, Collected Home Market. Yeah, so good morning, Southern Charm. So I'm not the only one here. I know Green 13, I think Lysandra may have chimed in and said she noticed it too, is that the community, and nothing against any of the shows that are there, I'm not knocking the shows, but there seems to be less and less like coffee talk, seller support, like the chit chat shows, and it's more about tarot card readings and religious shows and raid trains. That's really what's in the community. I'm starting to pull some of my community, my like business type talks, seller supports, and putting them into either vintage decor or storage units. We'll talk about storage units in a minute. Not just, I don't know. And there seems to be a shift, and I don't know if that's whatnot driven, if that's consumer or seller driven. But I'm feeling that I'm getting lost in there. So I'm testing it out. A few shows I have in there. Some I have in community, some I have in vintage. We're just kind of playing with it right now to see what the right mix for me is. Yeah, I skip over a lot of it too. Laurel, that's the same way. I mean, I've been on the app going on 3 years, and there was at one point you would go to the community when I first found it, and it was literally community show after community show. And when I say that community, I mean like seller support or talking, or some of it was showing how to do things, but it wasn't the way it is now. And I don't know if more categories is necessarily the answer. I don't have an answer to this. It's just an observation. I think some of that, I think there is a category for some of it that they should go into because it directs people a little bit more. Because I'm going to be totally honest, I am not a fan of the other way either. I'm not a fan of doing a community talk show in vintage decor. Because to me, that's the exact same thing as doing a vintage decor show in community. So I'd rather be in community because to me, that's where it fits. That's where it belongs. But it's getting so mixed up in these other things. Like, I don't understand why raid train shows are in community. If anybody does a raid train show and sticks it in community and you can explain your point of view, unfortunately, you only have so many words you could type in a chat. I would love to hear it because I've always been confused by that. Or if anybody has thoughts, why there are raid train shows within a community category versus being in vintage or storage units or jewelry or whatever they belong in. Oh, okay. You're confused by it too, Southern Charm. Good morning, the polished picker, Brandy. If you guys are over on YouTube, my husband's giving me a note over here. He's saying there's people watching on YouTube. Come on over here. What are you doing there? Thank you for being on YouTube if you're there, but come over here. And for all of you here, if you ever want to rewatch, most of my shows are on YouTube, so you can watch them there for free. Yeah, my love, look at the chat. Thank you. He's not reading the chat. He's yelling at me for not reading it. You're limiting your exposure having a chat show in a specific category. I love discounts. That's how I feel. I feel that my chat shows being in vintage is limiting. It should be in community, but community's so junked up that, you know, it would be good to have a rate train category. It doesn't fit that's already there. That it would be, yeah. Then people looking for the rate trains, like, okay. And I am not getting on any type of show. This is just observation. Tarot cards and religious shows in community, there is a religious category. Like those should be in the religious category. Talk shows should be in community. Of course, now please take this with a grain of salt because you know I'm a rule follower. I like everything to line up in nice order in these little boxes. And when it does it, my OCD gets a little out of control. Raid and givey shows. Okay, can we just talk about raid and givey shows? I know here it goes. You know, I'm about to piss some people off. There's something to be said about getting a group of people and going raiding somebody. There's something to be said about that. It is a nice gesture. So I know that when that happens, it comes from the heart, that there's no ill intent. It's always done out of a goodwill, good place. Can you relate to being a real follower? Yeah. And liking things in order. But if you constantly post shows, where you're just raiding into I'm just getting people to raid, and this is part of your business model, how sustainable is that? I'm just challenging you. How sustainable is that? Because I can tell you, as a buyer on the app, take the selling side out of it, as just a person who wants to use the app, if I go into your room once and I hear you talking, you're like, hey, we're just gathering a big crowd, I'm going to sell one or two things, but we're really here to go raid this person. It's a struggling seller. We want to help them. I'm going to be, oh, that's cool. That's sweet. Let's go do it. If the next day I see your show again and I come back into your show to buy some stuff because I like your vibe, and you do the same thing, and the next day you do the same thing, pretty soon I'm going to stop coming in there, because I'm there to sit in a show, to enjoy an experience, and to buy, not just to go be hopping from show to show to show, in the sense of, and I know I'm probably getting, people are getting mad at me about this, but I'm going to express my opinions on it, is that how sustainable in the fact that if you're only doing shows to raid into other people, what are you doing to, one, make a profit for yourself? And don't you think your people are going to get tired of it? Like, oh, it's not a real show. She's only doing that to go help somebody else. Like, I can just go into the other person's show to help them. Like, I don't need to go through you to go into somebody else's show. Y'all are quiet, so I'm either hitting a bunch of hot buttons here, and people are getting mad at me, or people are agreeing with me. I don't know, one or the other. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Doing it occasionally, I think it's a very kind gesture to do. But if your business is built off that, if you're doing that over and over and over and over and over again, I'm probably going to quit going to your shows pretty soon, because you're not selling me anything. You're not doing anything to make money. You're not giving me an experience other than going to somebody else's room. Yeah. Like, there's people who do this every single day. And I'm like, I don't understand, first of all, how you build a business off of that, and how you get like repeat people coming back. So, Laurel, that's a good way to put it. That feels like I'm being used. I mean, and not like this is like they're trying to do something bad. I get it. It all comes from a good place. They do it to gather followers. Possibly. I mean, I can see that. I can understand that. I missed good shows because I thought it was always just a gathering rate. So, I mean, for them to get followers, like, oh, look at this person, so kind and such community focused. Look at what they're doing for everybody. I'm going to follow them. Possibly, maybe. Good morning, Eve. Anyways, that was totally not on my notes. That was just kind of spur of the moment. We were talking about that. I go places to learn a community. Mary Lack, me too. So this all started, if you're just joining, thank you for coming in this morning. You guys, if you want to be notified when these shows go live, bookmark that down there. You don't need to buy it, just bookmark it. That way you'll get notified. I've noticed a lot of the OGs on the app stop doing this. Southern Charm. You have hit on something. Good morning, Sunshine. I have noticed too that same thing. A lot of the OGs, it's okay. A lot of the OGs are not doing their shows anymore. Some are, I'm not saying all of them. It was very interesting with the disbanding or just the dissolvement of the community host program, the official community host program. I think everybody who was a community host will always be referred to in that manner in some degree to those of us who saw them in that light. But quite a few either have stopped doing their talk shows or they have gotten spaced out quite a bit. There is not as much going on. French Betty, I have a hard time getting people on my shows. I'm not sure what. French Betty, guess what? Good morning, Wild Wild Daisies. You are in the right show this morning because we are actually going to talk about that very topic today. So hang out. It is on my notes. We're going to talk about that. Okay. Let me do a couple of quick reminders and then we can go on, talk about some other stuff. Setting up your reselling businesses tonight, you guys. If you have not come to this, tonight is your last night to come and see it. I'm going to pin this up here. So this is the actual workshop. If you want to buy access to all the materials, participant guides, and access unlimited to the 4 whatnot shows, and they're 2 to 3 hours a piece, you can purchase that. Tonight is week 4, is the final week. We have gone from talking about the very basics of what do you do before you even start selling, like setting up your bank account, EINs, accounting, taxes, all of that, all the way through. Last week, we talked about doing your first show. Good morning, Swamp Chick. And now tonight, we are wrapping up this 4-week series with shows 2 and beyond. We're going to dive deep into some analytics tonight. We're going to dive deep into growing now that you've done that first show. What am I looking at now consistently moving forward? It has been such a great series. So that is available now. That workshop will also be available moving on in the future. So if you're like, yeah, I can't do that now, but I still want to see it, we'll have it in the bin. I got it. Thank you. We'll have it in the bin. So absolutely great workshop though. But you can come on Monday night. So you can come tonight and ask all the questions you want. Doesn't cost you a dime. Good morning, Shades of Brown. You guys, we are doing something new on Mondays. That is called Setting Up Your Reselling Business Workshop. So that is tonight at 7 o'clock is week 4, is the final week. If you want to see all 4 weeks, you get the 3 that you missed. In case you miss the first 3, you can purchase what's below. You get access to that plus a bunch of supplementary materials. All right, on Mondays, you can see behind me, we are starting to feature a handmade artist or 2. It just depends, whatever mood my husband's in, I guess, every Monday. So today is Tiny the Artist, and he'll tag her. But Tiny the Artist, if you guys don't know, this is all her original artwork. So everything you see behind me today is Tiny's artwork. Is that the only one we're showing today? Yep. So everything behind me is all Tiny's work. We'll tag her. So if you're interested in anything, you know where you can go to. Tiny is amazing, Every Worker's Passion. I totally agree. That's why one of the reasons we're featuring. So just a sample. So flashing behind me will be different samples of her work. She does paintings and drawings in all kinds of different mediums. So she got kind of famous for doing hats, really cool hats. She does sketches. She does, what is it? Funny animal prints or something where she sketches an animal picture really, really fast. She is a really good example for handmade. If you guys are a handmade person, you're not watching her. She's a really good example of a handmade artist that comes in and has varying price points that is able to make something work on this app where you have entry-level art and you have expensive art, and then taking that into another step too. So it's a really good person to watch be successful on the app in handmade. Shitty pet portraits. Thank you so much. I knew they were something. I just couldn't remember what they were. Yeah, so all kinds of different stuff. So check it out behind me. That's everything you're seeing. If you are a handmade, if you're a handmade person and you want to be featured on a Monday show, DM us. Just send us some pictures. That's all you need to do, as many as you want. You can send 2, 3, 50. Not sure we'll be able to put all 50 in, but send what you want. And every week we're going to be featuring somebody different behind me. Do you think the workshop would, if you've already, absolutely, Russell, I absolutely think it would be beneficial. We talk about a lot of stuff in there, not just the first show. Even when we were talking about the first show, we were talking about pricing, inventory management, show flow. So we're talking about a lot of the concepts that we talk about here, just in more detail. We're just very focused and answering a lot of questions as we went through. And then that's my number. That's my one reminder. The other reminder, tomorrow's Free Shipping Tuesday. I'm going to keep talking about it. It's a growing show. I just brought it back about a month ago, brought free shipping back a month ago, specifically doing it on Tuesdays. We do vintage variety, Free Shipping Tuesdays. Then, you guys, is this, hold on, let me see what date we are. Is next week September? We're already there? Starting September 3rd, I'm going to start dipping my toes into storage units. Not actual storage units, like going and buying storage units, but the storage unit category. So I've been collecting various inventory. We're going to run it here out of my studio, but I feel storage units is the proper place for it because it is a wide variety of inventory. You name it, I have it. Just as if you were to buy a storage unit, you never know what you're going to get. Same type of stuff I'm bringing. That starts September 3rd. We're calling it Tracy's Treasure Toss. So if you just want to be surprised and never know what's coming and like a whole variety of stuff, that's a show to check out. And that's starting September 3rd. I'm kind of looking forward to this. So, and then on top of that, I say we, it's mainly me trying to get my son to start. I may be doing a show with my son coming up. I don't know. He's on the fence. He's almost there. He's almost to a yes. I've been working hard to get him onto the app. So we may be having 2 generations of Zoe's Treasures coming in and selling pretty soon. So I really hope he does start. I think he would be great at it. He's very shy, very, very shy, and doesn't want to get on camera. So we're working through that right now. All right. So let's talk. I asked earlier who saw Reselling Roundtable last night. He is 23. I got to do the math in my head. Yes, he'll be 24 next month. So Southern Charm saw Reselling Roundtable. I know I love discounts because they're on it. If you don't know what the Reselling Roundtable is, it is a YouTube podcast that Zoe's Treasures, I Love Discounts, and Green 13 all come together, and we do a 2-hour podcast every Sunday evening at 6:30 p.m. on YouTube. Highly recommend you go subscribe, check out an episode. We just finished up last night was number 30. We've been doing this for 30 weeks so far. Oh, last night was 31? Okay, 31. I stand corrected. Look at Tara, Millicent was there. Will you be doing that show in storage unit category instead? I will, Swamp Chick. So my storage unit show will be done in the storage unit category. And I've made a really good distinction when I'm sourcing. If it's vintage, it goes into one of my normal vintage shows. There is almost nothing vintage in my storage unit shows. There may be a few things, but if it is, it's nothing that really fits in any of my other shows. So it is a wide variety. I have an opportunity to pick up some stuff that's nice things, but they don't quite fit my current vintage categories vintage aesthetics. So that's why I decided to do this. You watched a little bit. Will we get notified? Notified of what, Angel? Let me know. Notified of what? The storage units? Help me. What are we talking about? Because you know me, I go from topic to topic. Oh, Light Me Attic, that's so great. I'm so happy to hear that. So Angel, yeah, the way to get notified is to go and bookmark the first one, and then I will have a back call on that first show, and then you can like that back call. I don't think I've set it up yet, but that's the way to get notified. Is go to the first one, click on the back call, and then I will have a specific back call just for that show. Switching, selling under different. Swamp Chick, I wish I will try to talk about it. I have yet to be super successful at it. So I shy away from talking too much about switching categories, or not switching, but like expanding to other categories. I haven't quite found a way to make it work really good for me. Some of the reasons I know why, and I'll talk about it really quick. Truth Drifter, it is a bat call. Like, let me pin. Okay, we'll pin the bat call down here for this show. So you see, it's called bat call. If you just bookmark a show, there's no guarantee that you are actually going to get notified to that. So if you just go to my profile and you bookmark a show, Whatnot's supposed to send you an email and notify you. That's not 100% foolproof. Doesn't happen all the time. So a lot of us, what we do is we set up these things down here called bat calls, where if you like this listing, every time I pin that listing, you will get notified without a doubt. So we do back calls, and I do mine by show type. So you could be notified of just the types of shows that I do that you're interested in. So my storage unit is going to be completely different than this show because they're two very different styles of shows. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Swamp Chick's comment question and talk about selling in different categories. I see some people that just like they make this very successful. I Love Discounts is a perfect example. They did health and beauty, which was kind of their main category. It was health and beauty. Then they moved into jewelry. No, their growth in jewelry was a little slow at first, but they picked it right up and they did start to get a consistent following pretty quickly. And now they have moved into clothing. They're on show 3 or 4 going into clothing. Okay. So he totally just made me lose my train of thought. So they've gone into clothing and they're doing pretty darn good in clothing. They're an example of somebody I would watch to see how to do different categories and to do it successfully. Personally, part of my problem when I've gone to different categories, I think you can take the basic concepts that we talk about, the basic concepts that you have applied in vintage or in whatever category you initially got established, apply those concepts into the new category and it should work very well. I know my mistakes, like when I went into jewelry, the beginning of this year, I wanted to go into jewelry. We invested a lot of money, a lot of time, and I fell flat on my face. Was not successful. I can look back now in hindsight, and I don't want to go too deep into this because this is actually what we're talking about on Sunday at the Reselling Roundtable. So quick plug, Reselling Roundtable on Sunday on YouTube podcast, 6:30 p.m. There it is. This coming up Sunday, we are talking about lessons learned. We're talking about things we've done well, things that have, that where we've fallen on our face. So that's what's coming up. So when I went into jewelry, I didn't apply all the concepts that I talk about. Thank you. I didn't apply dollar starts. I was all over the place with my pricing. I had decent shipping, but I wasn't moving at a good enough pace. I wasn't having inventory displayed. There were a lot of things that I was doing. I wasn't as confident I don't want to say prepared. I was pretty prepared, but I wasn't as confident in knowing what I was doing. I would fumble with the jewelry a lot. There were a lot of reasons why that, looking back in hindsight, I would go back and do it completely different. I think I could have made that successful. I don't like selling jewelry, but I think I could have been far more successful had I applied the concepts that I've applied to vintage decor, that I talk about to all of you day in and day out. So I think when I look back, or what the advice I can give from going from one category to another is consider what made you successful or is what making you do well in your current category and apply those concepts. Don't be afraid to. Part of my problem with jewelry was I was afraid to apply the concepts. So when I talk to you guys about low and even starts, when I mention this, I understand when I see in the chat, I put too much money into this. I don't have a big enough room. All of these concerns, people aren't bidding on my stuff. I was right there with you. Not 6 months ago, I was doing successful dollar starts in vintage decor, and I went into a new category just as scared with all the same thoughts that I hear in the chat every day when people say I can't do dollar starts or I can't do low starts. I get it because my mind was right there. I couldn't break out of that same cycle, that same way of thinking, because I bought very high-end sterling silver jewelry, invested from a designer in Mexico, and I'm like, I paid a lot of money. I need to get my money back. I should have applied the concepts that I am, that I preach and that I'm true to and that I know work. So I don't think it really depends on the category. It's applying those concepts. Low and even pricing, good show experience, as low as you can go with shipping. Make the shipping good for people. And y'all gotta quit. I'm gonna put it out there. I see such an emergence of shipping of $15 max, $20 max, $13.99. That's not really a benefit. I'm just going to say it. I'm probably offended. Today's the day I'm offending people, not on purpose. That's not a benefit to people. Just charge me full price at that point. Like if your shipping is so high that I'm probably not going to reach it on a regular basis, that it's really only set there for 2 or 3 people in your show, it might as well be full price. That's not reduced shipping. That's not a benefit. Just saying. Is anybody else seeing this? Am I alone? Am I absolutely alone? Or did I just like lose a bunch of people because they got mad because they do over $12.99 shipping on a regular basis? Y'all are quiet. Or maybe my chat, maybe I need to move my chat down here. Let me see. Oh, okay. I'm missing stuff. Good morning, Tiny Roots. Okay, y'all, my chat got stuck. Good morning, Tober. I am now seeing all of my chat that was stuck. Good morning, Miss M Smart Collectibles. Okay. I'm like, my chat's not moving at all. I'm like, man, am I just, people are like, hate me today. No. Okay, if it's up to, personal opinion, you guys, so keep that. $12.99, there you go. The bird theory, up to $12.99 because that is priority current until they change or until they do whatever. I can see the $12.99 thing. Now, you're not going to get the banner, but I still see $12.99 max as being like, hey, we're going to this flat rate thing because the flat rates are what fit my business, at least until Whatnot makes a decision on it, right? But if you're charging me 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 and above, that's 2-3 boxes. Like, I don't see how that's a benefit to me. I just there you go. Let Whatnot figure out. If you don't want it, just do buyer pays all at that point. Just do buyer pays all. Sellers are playing with the options because some are getting hit with hundreds of dollars in shipping with $7.75 max. You should not be getting hit with hundreds of dollars. That's because your settings aren't correct on the front end. That's because of the way they're setting it up. I do $4.50 and I do free on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, do I pay a couple $100? Well, depending how much I sell, yes, but that's free. You shouldn't be hitting over tops. If you're doing $7.75 max shipping in vintage decor, and I'm talking a show of about 80 to 100, I'm going based on my numbers, and I do some bigger items. If you are bringing the correct size items, if you're conscious about what you're bringing to the show and your setting is correctly on the front end, you should be maybe in the 10 to 15% point of what you're spending on shipping. That should be about a general average amount. So if they're paying hundreds, they're probably selling a lot more. Well, you sold a lot more. I weigh everything and haven't been hurt with shipping using Ground Advantage. There you go. What am I missing? If you list correctly, it will sell correctly. Yep, right there. If you list correctly, it will sell. What's the setting at beginning for $7.75? Collected Home Market, $7.75 is where you get the banner. I'm not, the banner, take it or leave it. I don't know if people look for it. To me, it's like, you can always put that in a thumbnail. You can put it in a title. The banner isn't the only way to let people know what your reduced shipping is. It's just Whatnot will do automatically for you, where you don't have to think about it as long as it's $7.75. I have a wood show tomorrow, and I have larger items like firkin pails. I don't know what those are, but cool. I'm going to do buyer pays all, so I want to do max, but lots. So if you're doing buyer pays all, that's not max. Those are two different things. So make sure you understand that before you go into the show. Buyer pays all. When you set up your show, you have 3 choices for shipping. Buyer pays all. That means the buyer pays all shipping. Max or reduced. They're kind of interchangeable terms. That means you set the max amount the buyer is going to pay, and then you as a seller pay anything over that. That's where you see a lot of the $7.75 come in. Then you have seller pays all. That means you as a seller are paying 100% of that shipping. So if your buyer pays all and max are 2 different things, so make sure you pick the one that you truly want, because you will be paying. A firkin pail is a giant barrel. Okay, let's talk yellow fox. I don't know how new you are. You do know, with the new shipping, larger items are going to cost you a significant amount. Unfortunately, this new shipping, while the 1 to 5, we got a really good reduction. The over 5 and the oversize, I have seen a drastic price increase. So it will cost you for oversize. Yeah, I would, Patina, I agree too. If I was doing something like that, that would absolutely have to be buyer pays off for me. They're buckets. Okay. The bird theory. This is a good comment here. I'm sick of people charging £1 to ship a 1-ounce item with max shipping, saying you hit max on the first purchase. You guys keep this in mind. All of these things, one of my big things that I talk about, similar size to a maple syrup bucket. Would it fit in a 12 by 12 by 12 box? That's my question. Yellow Fox. Keep in mind, when a buyer goes to buy something, they are looking at the price you're running it for and the shipping that's attached to it. That is in one price in their head that they have to pay. Is it true and adjustments don't cover unbundling? I was charged twice on an order for unbundling, then again for adjusting weight. The Patina Polly, go look at help.whatnot.com. Some unbundling is covered up to a certain point. They talk about it. Anything over $5, if the unbundled box is going to be more than $5 in shipping, your adjustment will not cover it. But if you go to help.whatnot.com, they actually list out everything that is covered under your adjustment. So you can like read that and then know when you're doing your shipping what is and isn't and how you should change what you're doing to accommodate that. 25 years experience, Roses Collectible, and I still find Whatnot shipping. See, I don't understand. I don't think it's confusing. I'm not like trying to get on people. I don't think Whatnot shipping is confusing. Let's go to the very basics. So a flat rate might work with oversized and more than 5. Not oversized, because a flat rate is 12 by 12 by 10. So if it doesn't fit in the flat rate, you can't ship it flat rate. So if you're going to use flat rate, make sure it ships. But yes, weight-wise, if it fits, that's probably your best bet, generally. Whatnot is not splitting up packages, and it charges you the unbundle rate. I had 7-item box and 9 pounds. No, they've always done that. The Thrifty Schoolhouse. Let's take a step back. Okay, Mel and Stella does not think it's confusing. You know what's confusing about it? There are a million different views on Whatnot, and new sellers, instead of going and reading and watching the Whatnot videos through help.whatnot.com or the Seller Academy, new people come in and listen to 50 million different ways of shipping and then get confused. Don't do that, okay? I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to tell you how to ship. What I'm going to tell you as a new person, anybody out there just starting out, or if you've been doing this and you're super confused about shipping, take a step back. Do buyer pays all for a couple of shows. Understand the system. If you're doing buyer pays all, that limits you. You're not going to have money out of pocket. You can press the buttons. You can play around with the settings. You can read help.whatnot.com. You can watch the videos, and you can totally understand the shipping. Then you can start doing some of these fancier things. Buyer pays all. Yep. $1 starts in reduced shipping, and my show grew weekly on cut. When bids went down. It was one bad week doesn't mean that it's bad forever. We're going to talk some analytics in a little bit. I Love Discounts is doing a shipping show. You guys, yes. Anytime we talk about shipping, I always refer you to I Love Discounts. Tonight, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. I Love Discounts ship show, and they will go 7 p.m. into detail. If you're doing buyer pays all, like what the Vintage Gypsy Bree said, if you set it up right, sell it right, it'll ship right. Put in the weight of the item with the packaging it takes to send it. That means your box, your bubble wrap, whatever you have to wrap it in. Put that weight into your item, then Whatnot's going to bundle it correctly. Whatnot will bundle 15 items in there if they think 15 items will fit in the box. You have to understand, Whatnot doesn't know the size of your items. Whatnot doesn't know if the 1 pound item is this big, or like this. It doesn't know. It just sees 1 pound. It will put all of those in a box if it thinks it will fit in a box. Whatnot's bundling is actually really, really a good system. It bundles based on where you are compared to where your customer is and the weight of the items you listed. So when you start changing the weight of those items, when you do a random listing and put everything at 8 to 11 ounces, Whatnot doesn't, they think everything's 8 to 11 ounces. So this is why I say, until you understand the system, don't start setting up custom profiles. Don't start doing these funky things. There's I Love Discount Ship Show right there, you guys. There's Foot Fetish, and then there's the Ship Show. Y'all, that is, you know what? Those two thumbnails together, if anything sums up I Love Discounts, is those two shows together. Right there. Foot Fetish and Ship Happens. That's why I love you guys right there. So the shipping really isn't confusing. You put in what it weighs, weigh your item, weigh it with the box, put that in there for your item weight. Whatnot will bundle it in a good, appropriate manner. It's not confusing. Quit listening to everybody else until you understand the system. Don't come in and try to go follow people selling you information, telling you do it at 8 to 11 ounces and not change your box size. Quit buying that crap. Quit. It's messing you up. Yeah, quit. Shipping is easy. Quit trying to outsmart it. Once you understand the basics, then you can say, okay, I'm doing reduced. What is the best way for me to set up reduced shipping or max shipping? So, and I'm just going to say this because y'all know who it is. I'm not calling out names, but I will call out bad practices. Change your box sizes, change your weight. Okay. And the people that are out there, these larger seller telling you on their show, specifically getting on their show, I do not know why Whatnot is allowing it. It is against Whatnot terms of service and it is against USPS. We are told by both of those places in the app that we agreed to sell on, that we agreed to follow the rules on, and in the service that we are using for delivery, that we must change our box sizes and our weight. So do what's right. Be an ethical business owner. If you're not doing that, if you're going to publicly announce that you're cheating that, what else are you cheating on? That's how I view it. So change size and weights. Don't listen to anyone that says you don't have to. There. I don't think the ones in the back. Okay, thank you, mamas. It makes me so mad because it's a disservice. New people come on and they hear this and then they get screwed on shipping. Then it's like the person earlier said, well, people are getting charged $100. They're getting charged $100 because they're listening to bad advice. And you know what else they're doing? The minute that you're a buyer has to pay an outrageous amount because you didn't change your box size, you didn't change the weight or the box size, and now a buyer has to pay, that buyer gets pissed off. They don't want to shop on Whatnot. Now you've caused everybody else a potential buyer on this app. And then word of mouth starts spreading. So you doing something wrong is a bad reflection on the app as a whole and can affect me as a seller. And I don't like that. When do you change it after the show? Yes, after the show, when you go to ship, you have the option of changing your box sizes to what it is and the weight. And that's when you should do it for every single box. If my box size is less than 12 by 12, should I change it? Okay, if you get big, okay, yes, obviously over 12 by 12, yeah, 100%. That's what the rules say. Now, here's where this is more of a preference thing. If your box is less than 12 by 12 by 12, are you required to change it? Not necessarily required as of now. If you go and read some of Whatnot shipping stuff, there's some hints in there that it may be coming. I haven't heard officially that it is, but there's hints. If you read it, you can kind of start picking up on that. The reason to change it, if it is less than 12 by 12 by 12, one, to get in the habit, you should just have a process. Your process should be, I measure my box, I put my box size and my weight, and that should be part of your normal process. The other part of it is, if your package were to get lost, the post office is looking for a 12 by 12 by 12 box. What if it's a 6 by 6 by 6? You're going from a box this size to a box this size. If someone, okay, I'm going back up to the top. He's telling me to jump comments. Let me keep reading from the top down. If someone who has paid over $1,000 in other sellers' oversized box, there you go. Bird theory. The buyers don't like it when they get postage due. And that wouldn't happen if we were doing our jobs appropriately as a seller. I wish I knew which seller it is because I don't want to buy. You'll know, Trish. I am not calling people's names. You know when you hear it. It's not just one seller. There's a main one, but there are many sellers who will tell you don't have to change your box sizes. I've always weighed and measured. Not much has changed for me, except now it's cheaper to unbundle and send. Yeah, it's definitely cheaper to send a 12 by 12 by 12 than between 1 and 5 than it was before. It also helps the package get lost. There you go. And most of the ones I get come from the most successful. Yep, bird theory. There are people, and you know what? I am so happy that Whatnot has done carrier adjustments because it's going to affect these people. It will eventually affect the people doing it incorrectly. The other thing that's going to affect people doing things incorrectly is customer service, which starts coming up in just a few days. Once these sellers who are not doing things properly have to start dealing with their own customer service, they're going to start either changing their ways or get off the app, one or the other. Is someone If someone lost the info that was sent out on the PA meetup, is there another place to find it, or should they just message me? Mel, just message me. We'll email anything if it's for you or for somebody else. If I'm using, so Angel says, if I'm using a 15 by 12 bag, but the time I wrap it up, it is a 10 by 8. You put in the final dimensions of that, of whatever it is that you're sending. So once it's done and packed, before that last piece of tape goes on, because I put packing list in there, but once it's done and packed, before you print that label, it's whatever that final size is. Yes, his and her Chicago shop. I 100% agree. Crafty Fairy says every other platform requires exact measurements. They do. I wasn't gonna. Wow, I wasn't planning on talking about this today, but it came up and we're talking about it. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us out there who it just is the bane of our existence. Is that people just? It's such an easy thing to do and do right. Like I don't understand why you would do it wrong to begin with. Besides trying to skimp out and not pay money that you legitimately owe. Don't set up your business on shortcuts. You're setting up your business on shortcuts if you're doing that. It's wrong. His and her shop Chicago. I have a problem with folks running a con being called successful. I don't think that word means what you exactly. I don't know how else to describe them. I don't like saying bigger sellers because I think we're all big in our own right. But yeah, people who I seem to have a lot of people in the room and keep making a lot of sales. Well, maybe I'll put it like that. I bought a small pack standard size boxes and that's helped with packing time. You guys, this move, I said this before. Tony from I Love Discount said, hey, there's really value in having a standard size box. This has been one of the things I have absolutely come to love with the shipping change is that, I mean, I have about 4 or 5 box sizes, but mainly I'm sticking to 10 by 10s, 12 by 12s, one that's a tiny bit bigger. Not having to think, oh, will this fit in a flat rate? What size priority should I get? Having a limited choice and then just being able to cut the box down a bit if I need to has improved and reduced our shipping time tremendously. Taking that decision out of there, that has been a byproduct of this change that has been wonderful for me as a seller. Yeah, packing time back, 12 by 12, 10 by 10, 8 by 8. For me, I also do a 14 by 12 by 10 because just that extra 2 inches from going from 12 to 14 helps, but the 14 by 12 by 10 still is the equivalent of a 12 by 12. That's probably my second most used box. But the 12 by 12 by 12 is the one I use now more times than not. You're still unpacking the glass order. Thank you so much, The Bird Theory. I have to give credit to my kids who are my packers. They do a good job. Who else thought the meetup ticket felt a little like a golden ticket? Millicent, thank you so much. You guys, if you haven't heard about the meetup, one, tickets are sold out, but don't give up hope if you have not bought one yet. We are having a meetup, PA meetup, October 3rd in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We have sold 125 tickets. We are completely at max capacity. Not quite. The facility holds a tad bit more, but I need to account for like the people that are coming to set things up and other bodies in the room. So we have 125 people that have bought tickets. Are all of them going to be there? No, there's probably going to be some no-shows. I expect to have some cancellations over the month of September. So if you have not got your ticket and you are interested in going, email me. I have a cancellation list going of people who are interested. If I get some tickets back, what I will do is email the list and those tickets will go in my bin. And it is a first come, first served basis at that point. That is the fairest way that I can think to handle tickets that become available. So that's how we're going to move forward with it. So if you don't have a ticket, you want to go, message me. You will get on the list and you will get an email. And they'll be in my bin if and when they become available throughout the course of the month. Where do I get my boxes? I like the Boxery and Amazon. That's what works for me, but there are a ton of choices out there, and some pricing may depend on where you live. Shipping may be cheaper from other companies to you, just depending on where you are and where they are. So there's a lot of choices. I do the Boxery just because I have experience with them. I think the prices are good. Doesn't mean that they're the best company to buy from. The meetup was advertised here, right here at Zoe's Treasures. I Love Discounts talked about it. Green 13 sold tickets also. And then whoever went talked about it. A lot of people talked about it in their shows. So it was word of mouth on Whatnot shows is how the meetup was advertised. My state, and I do local. Oh, there you go. I love the local pickup. Yeah, I don't like paying shipping to have boxes sent to me, but I buy in bulk. I do it usually once a quarter, so I'm trying to make the best of it. Amazon, which is the best story boxes link. I Kelly, I couldn't tell you. I like the Boxery. I do some on the some on Amazon, but again, I think boxes you just Uline, JB Mason, is that the name of it? There's a bunch of them. If anybody wants to put Granger, there you go. So look through the chat. People put in where they get boxes. I tried to use Shippo to put insurance on a package. They have ridiculous rules like place tape in an H fashion. Can you tell me about Shippo? I did not know there was rules like that. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I know whatnot goes through Shippo, right? I didn't know there was rules that you have to put your tape like in an H shape. I had no clue. Where are you finding those? Let me know so I can go look them up because I have no clue about that. Where do I buy bubble wrap? Sam's Club. Did you want to talk? Go ahead.
For the information on the meetup, you can head on over here, which is her website, zoestreshers.com. And then on the hamburger menu, you're going to see where it says PA Meetup. And it's going to give you the information right there.
There's a link to buy tickets that I need to take down because there's no more tickets left. I need to do that. Millicent, if you see in there, look at Millicent. She's in the chat here. She has tickets. She's willing to sell her tickets. The only thing I ask, if you sell your tickets to somebody else or if you buy them, message me because we are creating name tags and have a check-in list. So or at least know the name of the person you bought them from so that I can mark it off on the check-in list. Because if people show up at the door, if we happen to have any that are unsold at the door, that's great. They can come in. But there's only so much space, and I've signed a contract that I've personally guaranteed with my name and a personal check so that I can't have more than the number of people they say. So I'm being very strict on the amount of people that can come in that day because I'm on the line for it. I'm liable for it. I buy bubble wrap at Sam's Club. So BMK Treasures, I have priced bubble wrap. It was Sam's Club. JB Mason, I think, was the other one. And don't just price it because if you look, I want to say JB Mason. If you look at that website, it looks like the bubble wrap is cheaper, but then you look at reviews and there's a ton of negative reviews. There's a lot of bad reviews saying the bubble wrap isn't as good, and quality of bubble wrap matters. Like, when you guys get packages, quality of bubble wrap matters. Sam's Club, $15 for 250 feet. It's worth it. WB Mason, is that it? Thank you. I know I was getting it wrong. It didn't sound right when I was saying it. So I had somebody recommend WB Mason and I went and looked and I was like, okay, it's a tad bit cheaper. Maybe this would be a good thing. And then I saw reviews. I'm like, no way. I'm going to stick with Sam's Club. Glory Days, even for me. Now, it could be different. If you're closer to a distribution center, it may be different for you. But for me, even American Bubble Boy, I am stuck on Sam's for bubble wrap. I have yet to find a better price than Sam's Club. You guys, don't just look at the price of the roll. Look at the price per square foot. That's going to give you the true information. Don't use Temu. Yeah, don't. You might as well wrap it in toilet paper, paper towels. Yeah, absolutely. So again, this goes back just like everything else. There's no right or wrong answer besides Temu on your shipping supplies. A lot of it's going to depend on what you have available to you. How much does it cost to get it to you? Because it may be cheaper. What you're buying may be cheaper, but the cost to get it to you may make that box more expensive in the long run. So you just take all of it into consideration and make the best decision for you. Southern Charm, Sam's is the best for you too. Yeah, I go once a week. I probably go through 5 to 6 rolls, depending on the show I do. 5 to 6 rolls of bubble wrap of the big 250 foot rolls a week, or yards. Is it 250 yards? Yeah, it can't be by foot. It has to be by yard. So I use a ton of bubble wrap. I probably spend about $80 to $100 a week at Sam's Club on bubble wrap. And it's still cheaper than doing it another way. The Cozy Old Farmhouse, thank you so much. Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. If you haven't noticed, I'm in the process of changing. I schedule my shows out. This is a downfall of scheduling too far ahead. I'm already starting to get in. We're easing into my 2027. I know I'm 4 months ahead of the new year, but you know me, I'm easing into 2027 where I'm revamping a few of the shows. Nothing's really changing big, revamping a few of my shows, and updating my thumbnails to be a lot more consistent across the board. And I'm starting to get them changed. So little by little, we're getting there. What percentage of your sales goes to shipping supplies? Do you include that in your number for max and free shipping? I do not include that in my number for max and free shipping because to me, that is just overhead cost because it doesn't matter what kind of shipping I'm doing. Even if it's buyer pays all, that is a standard cost of doing business. That is an operational cost to me that is not a part of my free and max, free or reduced shipping. So I do not. And I do not look at my shipping supplies as a separate percent. I mean, I can go and figure it out. It's not one that I focus on. So I just look at operational cost as a whole. So that to me, my boxes and stuff, I list them separately, but when I look at expenses, I look at a whole expense of software expense, my subscriptions, my shipping, like all as a whole.
Sorry, Mama. She gets on her rant and she doesn't read anything.
I don't. I'm reading it now. Cheapest way to get bubble wrap. Buy from yeah, you could. Hey, highly recommend. There you go. Mama Solution. Totally recommend that. Just come to my show, buy a bunch of stuff, and I will make sure you have boxes, bubble wrap, and paper. Yellow Fox. So okay, you make a perfect point. It depends now. Is Sam's really going to be better? Because if you have to drive, if it's a 2-hour drive there, that's 4 hours round trip. So once you start looking at what's involved, to me, a 4-hour round trip, that's like a day of my time, basically, because I'm not getting a whole lot done after if I had to do that. Is it more beneficial for you? Is it better use of your time to go ahead and pay $1 or $2 more somewhere else? And now you're saving time. It all depends on how you feel about it.
You also need to keep in
Thank
mind.
you, Coacher.
You also need to keep in mind that sometimes Sam's Club puts a limit on the amount of rolls that a buyer can get.
When it's on sale, they do. When they have that, normally I pay like $15 a roll. When they drop it down to 12 something, they limit 4 to 5 rolls per purchase. But I will go in and buy some, put it in my truck, and go back in and buy more. Like, you only want me to do 5 per visit? I'm just gonna make multiple visits. And like that, Angel's pointing out, there's other places too that if you don't use it a lot, maybe it's not a big concern and you can find it, free or used, as long as it's still in good shape. That's what yes. Mama's yes. My daughter loves that plastic wrap. Let me tell you, I've had to tell her more than once to ease back on the plastic wrap. So my son too. I don't know if it was the Bird Theory or Ranch Hand Finds. One of you guys are going to get, they were Longenberger, they're in cardboard boxes that didn't need a lot of bubble wrap. And I wrapped one and my son wrapped some. And my son's is like this. They're cardboard boxes that are like this in bubble wrap, and mine are like this. Like, you can kind of tell. My kids are afraid of breaking stuff. My kids are so afraid that I'm going to get mad at them if a customer says the thing broke, that they are going overboard on bubble wrap. And I'm kind of okay with that. I'm kind of like, go the extra mile, And bubble wrap, and they deliver no problem. There you go. Scuba Stevio says, and WB Mason, Scuba Stevio, that's what I was talking about, is WB Mason, even for me, and we're really close to each other. They're a tad bit cheaper than Sam's Club, but I read such bad reviews, that's why I won't use them. That's why I continue to do Sam's. Not saying that that's the right decision, that's just what I've chosen to do. The Polish Picker, I may have missed it, but how do you feel about the bubble wrap machines? I love bubble wrap machines. The Polish Picker Brandy, I have 2. I have 2 bubble wrap making machines. I love them. I have one that I bought to begin with, and I do like it looks about that size of bubbles. Those are for filler, and I always put them on the bottom of the box, sometimes at the top. That machine goes really, really slow. So I love it, but it went way too slow for me, and I didn't like having to switch out to bubble wrap. So then I went and bought another one, and that's where I do bubbles about that size. So I call them the medium bubbles. So I do the big bubbles on the bottom of the box. Then I line the inside of the box with the medium bubbles, put all the items in, fold it over, and then any space around there gets paper or extra plastic bubble stuff. And I love that one. It goes super, super fast. And it's like instantly it's making my bubble wrap. So, love them. I think as you move forward, it's one of the things you should invest in eventually when you get the money to do so. If you use a lot of bubble wrap, if you sell breakables. The glass collectors appreciate overpacking. Yeah. I want to buy a bubble machine when I finally master not buying so much. I worry about getting bad refills for fear of failing bubbles. I haven't had any bad refills yet. I've been using them for over a year now. I've had really good luck with it. I buy my refills on Amazon. Now, I've bought rolls that are too big and I've had to waste a bunch, like throw or like try to pull it off and rewrap it onto something else because it didn't fit my machine. I've made the mistake of not buying the right size refills, but I haven't bought bad ones yet. If you have to compare, it's cheaper to join the club or pay DoorDash and so. Yeah, Millicent, that's a good way to look at it. The name of the favorite machine. You're asking me a hard question because there isn't a brand on there, but I can show you guys. You want to show them the name so that they can screenshot and then go look? All right, I will show you the bubble machines. Ignore my mess here. Hold on. What do I do here? Oh, okay. Is it studio? Yes. Okay, well, I'm going to go show you the bubble wrap machines real quick. And then you can screenshot it when we get there. All right, I'll try not to make you sick. Is it working? Yes. What do I need to do? Go to video? Go to the camera. All right. Look at, he has to walk me through the whole thing. Is it video or just camera? Video's fine. Video's fine. Okay. I disconnected it. Wonderful. This is my level. You guys, I can barely work my own remote control. This is why I need somebody to do all of my tech for me. All right. All right, let's go. You'll go ahead, switch it now. We're good. I don't know if you guys can see. Are you switching it now?
I'm switching it now. Thank you.
All right. We are walked. This is my storage. So y'all, this is my basement. That's this weekend's orders ready to go to the post office. Here's our bubble wrap machines. This is the one that I love. You can see I have to refill it. I just used it all. So I will show you the back of it. This is what it looks like. There's supposed to be guards over here. I took the guards off. This one goes super, super fast. And I will show you the back of it. Hold on. Let's see if I can get it. We'll come around here. There is no model on here whatsoever. So I do not know. But you can look and see what it looks like and go search Amazon. That's where I got it. It's about $300, I think. So there's no model on the other side either. This is the super fast one. Then this is the slow one, but this one works great. So the slow one, there's the model right there. So you can see I do this size bubble with the slow one. And then with the fast one, try not to make you sick. The fast one is this size bubble. All right, that's it. And this is my shipping. If you guys haven't seen it, so we do shipping. All right, let's try not to make you sick. We'll go back. And we're back. Okay, I didn't see any chat during any of that time, so those bubbles on the fast, they're pretty sturdy. Thank you, Scuba Stevio. So,
Millie, the guards are because those are heating elements, and it prevents you from burning your hands if you touch it.
Yeah, because it melts it. So it like you have to thread the plastic bubble like from the roll onto like an air hose, and then it pulls it through, and then it melts the sides of it once it puts the air into it. What are restrictions for shipping in tubes like the one on your bubble wrap? That's another good question. You're asking me the hard questions today. I do not know the restrictions. For whatnot, I'm just going to go out on a limb here. For whatnot, I would say you measure it just like you measure everything else. But as far as restrictions on what you can ship, like tube size, I would go to USPS and see what they say. Yes, both machines do multiple sizes, the Bird Dairy. I have this whole concept in my life that if I have a machine like the bubble wrap machine, I don't like to have to switch things out. That's time consuming. If I have two sizes of bubble wrap and I'm constantly having to stop my shipping and go over there and switch them out, that takes time. I like to have things where it's a one and done. So I have multiples. I have multiple tape dispensers at different points in my shipping station. I have multiple tape guns. I have 2 bubble wrap. I have 3 label printers. 3 label printers. So I don't have to change out labels. I have one that I do small labels, one I do shipping labels on. I didn't buy them all at once. It was a progression as the money became available, piece by piece. But I feel by having multiples, it saves me enough time. It's worth the money. I save that money and the time over and over and over when I'm shipping. I love discounts. 3 thermal label printers also. What is the size bubbles that is on your fast machine now? I don't know the exact size. I'll have to measure it. I can message you the Bird Theory. If you're interested, I'll send you a message. I'll go measure them. I don't know. They're like an inch or 2-inch bubbles, probably. I mean, yeah. Fully stocked for 6 shippers without this. Not quite. My ship center, we can comfortably put 3 of us in there. So what does Mama say? Free samples with every order. There you go. Good morning, Tiny the Artist. Check it out. Well, we've been talking about you this morning. So no, my ship center, when I designed it, look, I used to ship in like a small, like a space no bigger than this. But I knew when I was expanding, I knew that I wanted to grow. Part of my growth was I needed to be able to ship more and source more. Those are my 2 pain points that I had to focus on. Good morning, Lydia. So first of all, I attacked the shipping side of it. And so when I created the ship center, I designed it because I knew I was going to have at least 2 other people helping me. So I designed it to accommodate the growth that I wanted. Then I started focusing on the shipping side. So it's not like it was, oh, you've got all the space, let's do it. I cut into my inventory space to make shipping efficient because it's such a huge part of what we do.
Thank you, Tiny. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't to represent your children in a car. But the guardrails, I know. They usually don't touch that. Do I print my packing and shipping label on thermal printer paper? I do my shipping label on the thermal printer. I do not do my packing list. The process I go through, I'll tell you my shipping process because I have 2 other people involved in this. So we need to have some checks and balances. After a show, I print all of my packing list. I do it on 8.5 by 11 and I try to use colored paper, pink, yellow, whatever colored paper. So I print packing list on there. Let me actually take a step back. When I sell something, we print a label that has the customer's name, their number, and the show, and whatever it says. It usually just says like random number 1, random number 2. I put it on a shelf over here. My children then take that item, they bubble wrap it or wrap it in whatever way to protect it, and they stick that label on the outside of it so we know whose it goes to. We then have bins. Bins are numbered 1 through 50 something. And each customer has a number. The first customer who purchases is number 1. The second customer who purchases is number 2. This is what they look like. So we print these labels when an item sells. See if the lights are pretty strong, pretty there. So on here, this would be timeless. They would be number 1. So everything that gets wrapped from timeless would go into bin number 1. So we put all of timeless's stuff in bin number 1. Then a hot label. I don't know what hot label is. So then after everything is wrapped and put in the bins, I have all of my packing list. I print on paper like this, and we go and pick. There's 2 of us there usually. We just grab a packing list, and I say, oh, Southern Charm, box number 5. And I go to box number 5 or whatever number hers is. I pull everything out. We put them in boxes. As we're doing that, every item, we're looking at the label and the packing list, and there's a check on the packing list. Item number 43, 43, check, check, check. So we make sure that we have not bought. No, Angel, we use a program my husband designed. It's just an extension. It's free. If you are interested, DM us. He shares it freely with anybody who wants it. It works like not bought. Maybe not. It doesn't have as many features, but it's very similar.
So I consider getting the not bought program for her. But then when I realized that they're charging $30 a month as a subscription for the program, I thought it was way too expensive for the price.
Personal opinion. I'm sure the product is very good. I am not
and it does a lot of cool stuff.
It does. It does more than ours.
But for what we needed, and it was
Yes.
just the auction, that's the reason why I designed the one that we use.
Yeah.
And it just prints auctions. It doesn't print giveaways or
Nothing
bin
like that. Yeah.
sales or anything else. It's just auctions.
Ours is very basic, but it works for what we need it for. And we share it freely for if anybody else wants to use it. So then we check off the packing list. We pack everything in the box. Once it's packed in a box, we don't seal it. We weigh it and we write the weight either on the box or on the shipping label, or the packing list. And those get set aside. Then at the very end, we come back through and we print labels. We do all of our shipping adjustments, box size, weights, and actually print the label, seal everything up at that point. That's our process. So we follow that process religiously, because it means that if I'm not here, my son or my daughter can step in and do that process, because this is what we do every single time. And they're trained the same way. It's a system. It's no different than what I talk about all the time, is setting up a system that you can delegate down to other people.
Nice. You can if you only have one thermal printer, you can swap labels. So you can have the labels, the 2x1 inch when you're running your show, and print every single sale. And then once you're done with your show, you can swap the labels for the 4x6 to be able to produce your shipping labels.
And even if you're a one-woman show and you don't have people that ship with you, I didn't have people helping me until the beginning of this summer. So it's only been 3 months that I hired my children. And for the last 3 years, I've done this by myself. That doesn't stop you from implementing a system and implementing checks and balances. So the way I would do it when I was just me before I had help, I would only pack one order at a time. I would lay all the orders out. Everything would be numbered, and it would be laid out in rows, 1 through 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 20 or through 30. So everything would be laid out by number. And then I would say, okay, I'm going to pull up an order. And I say, I Love Discounts order. They got 5, 18, and 54. And I would go and pick each of their items. I would match that against my computer screen to make sure I had the right items. I would pack their box, do one complete order, and put it aside. That way, I wasn't mixing up orders. I didn't have multiple open boxes. It was easy to see if I had everything or if I was missing something. So there's ways, if you're just a one-person show, to implement like controls and checks and balances on yourself to prevent errors too.
Thank you, Miss Mary.
Did I document? I did not document. I did not write it down. As much as I say write them down, it was more of a on-the-job training.
Thank you, Miss Mary. And Nisi, the program is designed for 2x1 inch. So 2 inches on the width and 1 inch on the height. That's what the program is designed for. Can it be adapted? Yes. But that's the one that we use because it fits the information without any issues.
I know. I Love Discount is like, what? You didn't write it down. I did not write the process down. I know. They should be written out. Look at that. They should be. I'm saying they should be. You think you're wasting paper for the thermal? We could take a poll here. There are people who are like, no way, I am not wasting that half a cent on a piece of paper for my thermal label. First of all, don't nickel and dime your customers. Give them a freaking packing list. Other people are like, oh, it's just random items. It doesn't matter. It doesn't say they don't need it. Well, it still lists the number of items. It's still a receipt. It's a thought process. And it's also a control measure. It's a part of what you should be doing as a control. I am all for packing list. Doesn't mean my way is the right way, but I am all for using packing list for multiple reasons. Other people are dead set against them. What I don't agree with is the people who are against them where it's going to save me money. You're saving a half a cent. I'm sorry, it's not going to add up that much. Don't nickel and dime your customers over half a cent. Lysandra created a 44-page book for shipping, and Tracy didn't document. Go back. Lysandra, go back to bed. Or Tony. Yeah, sometimes you don't even know it comes because their name exactly Southern Charm. So you guys read Southern Charm's comment. Perfect point. At least a packing list tells them where it's coming from, if nothing else. Slap a thank you sticker on there. Write scribble thank you handwritten, something. It's better than not doing anything. So his and her Chicago stuff doesn't do it. See, there are absolutely two sides of this. I am a total pro packing list side. Now, I also use mine as a control measure. I do it on a big sheet of paper. It's easy to read. We use it as part of communicating from, I have multiple people in the system. And for me, I need that as a control too. When I ship random, I write on the packing list what the item is. There you go. I love writing what it is. Now, I also use it because most of my customers, and the Bird Theory can attest to this, Southern Charm can attest to this, if I have multiple boxes, I don't, on the outside, I don't put box 1, box 2, but on the packing list itself, I use this and I'll put box 1 next to the items that are in box 1, box 2 next to those items. So they get a packing list in one box and they know, oh, I've got 3 other boxes coming. Now, subsequent boxes, I print it straight from Whatnot. I just print it on my thermal paper just so they have something in the box. But at least they get one piece of paper that lets them know what items were in what box so they can say, oh yeah, everything is here. I always put them back. I forget one time and the lady sent me a note saying you should send them. It is really a preference thing for the seller. A lot of these things, it's not that there's a you have to do it way or not do it. Like it's not right or wrong. A lot of this comes from the preference, what the experience you're trying to create, what you feel is important for your buyers. Like it really is a personal preference on the seller side. And the item number is on your sticker on the item. Yep. So usually you'll have an item number. And then the other thing I do, you guys, that I do, again, you don't have to. This is just what we do. We frequently sell things that have multiple parts. Maybe it's a jar with a lid or a compote, a glass compote that has a lid. If those two things are wrapped separately, the main item gets the sticker and then there's we put another sticker. So the initial item gets the item sticker and we put a number 2 on it. And then we also number the other item. On the packing list, I put ×2 when I put it so that people know when they see, oh, this item has 2 things wrapped up. I'm looking, because a lot of people will open it up and they'll be like, oh, you didn't send me the lid. Well, here it's really easy to see. It's a 2-piece item. It's not just one thing. I love sending thank you cards with individual notes. It makes more special for each customer. Plus, who doesn't love? So, Nisi, I totally think that is like cool. Like it makes people feel. It gives them that warm and fuzzy when they get a personal note. I want to challenge you. Not that this is bad. As you grow, how do you adapt that to growth? So I'm not telling you not to do it. What I want you to think like a business owner in the sense of, okay, as I grow, how do I continue to give a personal touch? Because I can guarantee you when you're sending out 100, 200 packages a week, you will not have time to write personal thank you notes. Or if you do, you're giving up something else in order to do that. Customers should be important enough to include a packing list. I don't know. Purple Turtle Hobbies, again, to me, it's not about like them being important enough. It's more about the seller's preference. How are you using it? How is it part of your control? If you're not putting a packing list, make sure that at least you're branding your stuff somehow so they know who it's from, right? You want them to be happy that like, oh, I got this box and it's from Zoe's Treasures. Wonderful. So even if there's no packing list, they make sure they know your branding is there somewhere, somehow. To print the packing list, you have to open each buyer's list separately. No, Sassafras, you can print all your packing list in bulk. So just go to your shipping screen. Don't click on anything. Just open up your shipping screen. And there's a button at the top that says open sidebar. So as long as you're not clicked on any specific order, just open the sidebar. And then there's an option to export just packing list. So you can export all of them in one bulk to a PDF and then print to regular paper or print to your thermal, whatever paper you choose. And that's what we do at the end of every show. That's how I get all of mine. It makes it so much easier. And I just learned that. I just learned that like 2 months ago. I didn't even know that. I forget who told me. I don't know if it was I Love Discounts or Green 13. One of them told me about it. And BMK Treasures. I agree. Started sending notes on other platforms, but then as you grow. So it's not that it's bad, but this is with everything. With your shipping, with if you photograph your inventory, how you store your inventory, what you do during the show. Think about growth. What you do now may accommodate 20 packages a week. Is it going to accommodate 100 or 200? So think about where you want to be ultimately and start setting those processes in place before you get there. The Cozy Old Farmhouse. As a buyer, I can care less about the extra things that the seller has added to my box. It's not really a big deal for me at all. I'm curious. I would love to hear from you guys. Yes or no on adding extras to boxes? Like little goodies. Yes or no? No, no, no. Yes, no. I think we're leaning on the nose here. I think we have some yeses, but I think we're heavier on the no side. They just want the stuff, not the junk. So, okay, there's some mix. I want to say we're a little heavier on the no. People are like, don't do this, but take it for what it is. I mean, we all decide what you do in your own business, so take that for what it is. We get a bunch of boxes as we then had to guess who it was from. Yeah, because you don't know who it's from. Put your business name on your label. Nobody knows who Bob Jones is, but they know who, whatever your username is. No. Is there something I have to find where to put in? It is. Oh yeah, there you go. I had to read that again. It is. Every time you get an extra, you're either going to throw it away. Now I say this. I put little plastic ducks, little tiny ducks. Not that I'm buying anymore. I did it at the beginning. It was one of those things I did, and then I grew, and I'm like, I'm not going to keep doing this. And then I found a bunch when I was cleaning out my storage. I'm like, okay, I'm at least going to go through the ones that I have, and then I'm not buying anymore. And then, yeah, how many stickers can you have? I add a piece of candy in each box, and customers love it. And some of it is just knowing your customer. There's no right or wrong here. It's know who you're sending it to. I would caution, just personal preference, highly caution on any food or candy products because there are so many freaking allergies in this world. I do like the cards from you and Jeremy, but random junk, I don't. I put cards in like discount cards. I know a lot of people throw them away. That's okay, but because there's still a good percentage that keep them and use them and come back to the shows to use the coupons. If the extras are stickers, save your money. Just coming in. Is it considered a label adjustment when you edit the box size before you generate the label? Yes. That is an adjustment. Either one that, it depends. If you're going up, so yes, you're adjusting your label. Whether you're charged for it or not, it depends. So it depends on the extent and how much of a price difference that creates. If it creates a price difference, your free adjustments may cover up to a certain amount. You can look at help.whatnot.com for what that amount is, and anything over that you pay for. Some adjustments, sometimes changing a box size. If I go from 12 by 12 by 12 to 14 by 12 by 10, there's no price adjustment included with that. So there's nothing that affects what I'm paying. People have tried to buy those ducks. Oh my goodness, those are like legit just Amazon ducks. They are not. They were cute because we do a duck thing on here. That was it. So, yeah, always put your business name. Every time I've included a small gift, they always mention in my review that they love it. Well, that's great. Then your customers appreciate it. You've got to know your customers. You've got to know, what you're doing. Just know that every additional thing you send, you're opening yourself up to somebody not liking it. It's a risk. As with anything we do in business has some element of risk to it. It's probably a minuscule risk, but know that somebody may give you a bad review. They put peanut butter, whatever, and I'm allergic to peanut butter, something stupid like that. They put stickers in there. Stickers are stupid. Not that I'm saying that's going to happen. Just understand everything we do in business has some element of risk to it. We as business owners judge our decision on whether we want to do based on our risk tolerance.
Thank you, the vintage Gypsy Brie.
Oh, thank you. How many of those add something to the package, won't spend the money to add crystals? Amen, right there. You say it. How many? Or let me ask you this question. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to jump on Crystal's statement here. How many, is it choppy? Okay. How many people won't print a packing list? Crystal says, but we'll put something in the box. Or how many people will put free gifts in a box but refuse to do reduced shipping? Just saying. Look at how you're spending your money. Look at what incentivizes the people the most. Look at what's going to be a win-win on both sides. Look at what's going to further your business. We send a free knife with every package. What's the worst that could happen? And you don't wrap it, and it stands straight up, right, in the box. All right. We've got about an hour left. I want to talk about something a little bit today. Last night on the Reselling Roundtable, we talked about analytics. It was a wrap up to a 2-week kind of thing we did on analytics. And I'm not diving deep into analytics here, but I do want to make a couple of points because I think they're really important that we kind of touched on last night. When we're looking at our numbers, and every person here, hopefully you're looking at something, hopefully you're recording, doing all the stuff you're supposed to do. They help us solve problems. Somebody way earlier, and thank you so much. If you were still here, whoever said, I can't get people in my room, and I said, hold on, we're going to get there. We're finally getting there. I know it took me a long time. Almost every question you have as a seller, the questions we see in chats over and over, can be answered by looking at your analytics. I want to put that out there. Almost every question. I got a summary list. We're going to go to the summary list here. Let's see. Hold on. I got to get way back here to my summary. Okay. Almost every question can be answered. You have a problem, and we're going to go over what some of the problems are. That problem, you then look at a number, a data point as some type of something in your analytics. Then you ask yourself a question, and then you make a decision. So let's go through some of this. Our analytics tell the story of exactly. They tell you a story. They help you decide where to go. Let's do. Where is it? People coming in my. Was it people coming in the room? What was that question? What people do you want in your room? There was a question about I can't get people in the room. Or I can't get people to stay. I think that's what it was. The people come in, but I can't get them to stay. I actually have that question here. Let's talk about it. People come into my shows, but they are not buying. Who feels that way? Who feels people come into my shows, you're seeing numbers, but you're not making sales? Anybody can relate to this? Is this hitting a nerve somewhere? Okay, so there's enough people where they're like, okay, I recognize this as something that I've felt in the past, right? People are coming to my shows, but they're not buying. So what do? We say, the algorithm sucks. I need a better thumbnail. We blame the algorithm. We blame Whatnot. We blame Whatnot for not pushing things. We blame the audience. We could put things on everything else, right? All the darn time. Yes or no one is staying, but people come and they aren't buying or they aren't staying. What should we be looking at instead? Because let's think about the process. So if we understand the process, now we can start dissecting that process to figure out what the problem is for our own shows. So each one of you that said me or yes, it could be a different problem, all being identified as people aren't buying in your show. I started the $5 starts and max shipping, and I love that, Dustin, darling. I love that. What can you do differently? Yeah, so people enter, right? So let's understand the process. People enter, then you want them to stay, then you want them to engage, you want them to chat, right? You want them to bid, and then buy, and then come back. That's the process we want as sellers that we're trying to encourage. So we get people, we've got them there. You're saying you got people in your room, but they're not staying. So now how do we take that to the next level? Do we take it to the next and then get them to buy? This is a buyer conversion problem. So what we want to first look at is understand what metrics affect this, that whole process. What metrics go into affecting this? We need to understand those numbers first, so then we can start putting them together and make a decision. So we want to know how many viewers do we have? How many people are in our room? Not just this number up here. This is one number. How many people in total are coming through your show? If you go to your analytics, you can see that. Is it cost? Yes. The Glass Granny, yes, you're correct. It's $12.99. As a buyer, I leave if you don't have the type of merch. We're getting there. Kate, you're right there. We're about to talk about that. You're totally spot on with that. So we need to understand how many viewers do we have in total? Because I can guarantee you there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people coming through your room. So it's not that they're not coming. You're getting them in there. Now we need them to stay and to buy. The new analytics actually gives you peak viewership times. If you look at it, if you pop out your screen and you save it, it's going to give you peak viewership time. So you can start looking at when did I have the highest viewers to start figuring out what you're doing. Only on the computer, not on your phone, you get the peak viewership time. We want to look at our sold through rate. Okay, so I'm just giving you a bunch of analytics here off the top, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about what can you do. You want to look at your sell through rate. So if you're getting them there, and you're getting them there, and you have a really low sell-through rate, that's what we're trying to solve, right? But we have to have a baseline. If we know our sell-through rate's 10%, so we have people in the room, we're selling about 10% of our stuff, we want to increase that. We want to know how many people are buying. Does that 10% one person, 3 people, 5 people? What's the relationship to the people buying to the people coming in your room? This is conversion. So what your real problem at this point is, we can't convert people from watchers to buyers. Okay? They're coming, they're not buying. We have to convert them. So if we start talking about conversion rates, how do you get conversion rates? It's the total number of people who bought. Okay? So you can go and look, you can count your orders up and see how many people bought, divided by the total amount of viewers you had. That's your conversion rate. This is a really good metric. You have to calculate it, that you can start measuring show to show to show. And it really speaks to a few things. It speaks to the quality of your items. So if I have a problem with this, you can't sell from an empty way, meaning you're live. Yes, you have to be live. You have to have something to sell. But once I understand what my conversion rate is, because when you say people come into my shows, but they're not staying or they're not buying, why? Why? Is it your merchandise? What's the quality of what you're selling? Is it what they want? Does your title, are you tricking them? Does your title say primitive and they come in and you're selling jewelry? Does what they expect? Are you delivering? Are you meeting the expectation you set? That's one. What's the quality of your items? Crap is crap. I don't care how you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Okay? So what's the quality of your items? What is your pricing like? Is it easy to buy from you? Are you doing low and even starts? Are you all over the board with pricing? Or are you pricing like eBay? Why do I come on an auction site when I can go to eBay and buy it? Don't price my stuff. Don't price your stuff on eBay prices. Doesn't make any sense. Okay. What's your presentation? So once you identify the problem, you know what your conversion rate is, and you need to increase that rate. You start looking at each individual thing. You start picking apart, and you've got to be really honest with yourself. Really, really honest deep down. Is my pricing right? Thank you for your purchase from the bin. I get worried they don't buy because prices start lowering when they are already low. The Moss Penny, that is called emotional discounting, and I absolutely do not recommend you do that. When you are in a show and you have picked your prices, have confidence in those prices. You picked those prices for a reason. Now, I say they still should be low and even, but whatever you decide low and even is, be confident in that. The only time you should be discounting is if you have planned it from the get-go. If you have already know you have planned this discount. Just because people are not buying from you and then you start emotional discounting, you are then cutting yourself short and you're setting up unrealistic expectations with your buyers that this is the way it's going to be all the time. That is a lack of confidence. It's a lack of confidence in yourself as a seller and in the pricing model that you have chosen. If you're just going to drop that price from $5 to $3, start it at $3 to begin with and be confident in that $3. It's going to do you far better than emotional discounting ever will, because that looks desperate, and desperation comes through on the screen, even if you try to disguise it. How do you compete with larger sellers? You can start low. It's not even about competing. It's about reducing the barriers to buying for your buyers. The easier you make it for people to shop with you, the more room count you're going to get, the longer they're going to stay, the more they're going to buy from you, and you start to then grow at that point. So you're looking at pricing, you're looking at presentation. If you have a conversion problem, you're looking at what the experience is. Do they even enjoy being in your room? Can they see the product? Do I have the right lighting? How you calculate conversion rate by taking the total number of buyers in your room. So just go at the end of the show, count how many shipments there are. How many people are you sending stuff to? That's buyers. Total number of buyers by unique viewers. How many viewers did you have? Total number of buyers divided by unique viewers will get you a conversion rate. Don't expect 50 or 60. It's going to look different for all of us, but look at, like, for me, a conversion rate is good, probably around 8 to 10%. So I'm not talking, these aren't going to be drastically high numbers. But here's the other thing. If I know on my Elegant and Timeless show where I'm selling high-end, fancy, elegant, breakables stuff, I have a conversion rate of 10%, but then I go to a glowy glass show and I have conversion rates of 5%. I can now use that data. It makes two completely unrelated shows comparable to each other. And I can start asking, well, what am I doing in this show to get a conversion rate of 10 where I have a conversion rate of 5 in this one? So understanding this, yeah, 5 to 10 is amazing. So then, Peter, this is what I'm talking about, the conversion rate. You use this to make decisions. If I have a bunch of people coming into my room, getting people's not my problem. What you will hear people on Whatnot say is, nobody's buying from me. How do I get more people in the room? I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. If I have let me finish my thought. If I have more people in the room, more people will buy from me. That's not true. You probably, if you're getting people in the room, obtaining people's not your problem. The problem is converting those people. So if you understand how many you're converting, then you can start saying, okay, well, that's too low. How do I improve that? Then we start going through the list. Merchandise, pricing, presentation, pacing. Are you going fast enough? Are you losing them because you're too slow? They're bored out of their mind sitting there waiting for you to run the next item. Do they trust you? Is your show structure confusing? Are you all over the board? Is it organized? Are you flowing? Is there a show flow going through happening? And maybe at the end of the day, the items aren't matching the audience being attracted. This goes back to your thumbnail. All right, my love, he's telling me to do something. I've got to stop so I can make my love happy here. If I purchase the Ledger to Leadership, the other products you have are different. Correct. The Ledger to Leadership is an accounting course, so it's going to teach you reseller accounting from debits and credits all the way through how to create and read financial statements for resellers on Whatnot. It's written specifically for Whatnot. Will unique buyers count a viewer just once, even if they go in and out and stay 3 times during a show? Dawn, it probably will recount them. Whatnot, and this is where you have to offer a little grace in Whatnot's numbers. If I come into your show and stay for 5 minutes and then leave and then come back later, it's probably going to count me twice. We've just got to deal with that. There's nothing we can change that because we don't control it. So we use it as is. It's still giving us a percent that we can compare show to show to show with. While I would like it to be different. Okay, what are we doing? He's telling me to do something. I'm following directions, you guys. I'm totally off kilter here now because I have no idea what he wants me to do with this. Go for it. You're in control now.
So what I want to show you is this, because this is basic. It's super basic. So you're going to sell an item. And as you can see right there, she's showing that item in front of you. And what's in front of that item? Can you see it? The only way for you to see it, don't move it. Exactly. Yes, absolutely. So the placement, right? So I can't help it if I have a moving chat and we're having a good conversation, but then your display is just completely off. Okay? So if I switch my camera and I start moving a little bit and I position that a little bit above the chat, also you have to think about this. The moment that you decide that you're going to pin your item, the chat is going to move up with all that description. So even if I have my item displayed in the first time, whoops, hold on, wrong side. If I do that, it's still in the chat. So most people, what they do is they fail to frame their picture. They fail to frame the item. And so you need to realize that you need to frame it in order for people to see it. If you are focusing on the item that you want to sell, that's the first thing you need to do. You can't just be showing the item on the chat or putting your face in behind the chat because nobody's going to see anything. And all they see is just headspace. It's just empty space above your head or above your item. Sorry, I'm done.
That's a perfect point. Display like that, then by holding it. It just depends. You can hold something. Just hold it up. Don't hold it down here. So we have cameras that we use, but you can have the same effect by holding it here instead of down here. And keep your face above the chat. Yes. Okay. There was 2 questions I want to answer. So the first one, reselling business workshop. I my chat has already scrolled. Let me see who asked that one. The Indigo Project. So what you're asking about is this one. This is the workshop I'm doing on Monday nights. Tonight is night 4. So you can come for free tonight, ask any questions. And if you buy a sticker tonight, you get access to that one show for what, 60 days from Whatnot. If you buy the course down here, you get access to all 4 weeks. You'll get all, I can't talk. You get all 4 videos, the Whatnot videos. So you get here all the questions answered, unlimited access, participant guides, templates, some other tools, some PDFs. So you get a suite of supplemental material of resources that come with that, and it walks you through. So each week we talked about setting up your business, the bank account, the EIN, how to set up your accounting, getting ready for taxes. We talked all about a first show. Tonight is shows 2 and beyond, and analytics. So that gets you access to everything. And if you purchase it, thank you so much. If you purchase that, send me your email address so I can get you the link to where everything is contained, so you have access to all of that information. The other question that I don't want to miss or don't want to ignore, somebody asked, why do people go into shows privately, like in secret? I call it incognito mode. I don't know if that's the right word or not. Sometimes they don't want to draw attention to themselves. I'm always on incognito mode, not because I think I'm a big seller by any means, but sometimes I just want to go in and enjoy a show, and then I'll make myself known when I'm ready to talk and to chat. Sometimes I'm doing stuff in the background. A lot of times I'm driving, and I don't want people talking to me, the seller saying, oh, hi, Zoe, how are you? And I can't answer because I'm driving, and then I look rude. Do you walk through the templates? I talk about the templates. The templates are pretty self-explanatory. The information I give in the videos really helps you with the template. So I don't necessarily walk through them, but if you watch a video, you'll understand the template. How do we do that? Incognito, it's in your settings. So go to your account settings, and if anybody knows the right word, put it in there. I'm not sure if it's called incognito or private mode or what's it called, but there's a setting for that. And it just means nobody knows you're there until you announce yourself. Do you type it in there in the chat? It's under preferences, incognito. So there it is. Everybody's helping you.
Salt Road Mercantile, the internet connection. The best way to do that is to have the wireless is always going to be choppy. It's always going to give you with a little bit of disappointment. So the best way to do it is wired. We're running computer, and the computer is wired directly to the internet. So it's not a wireless connection. If you're relying on wireless, you're going to have a little bit of an issue depending on your signal, how good it is, how many obstructions you have in your place of business or house. And if you're relying on cellular, that's even worse.
Thank you, Daisy Lane. Daisy Lane says they just moved that incognito again. She's trying to find it so she can let us know. K-Pot, both, all analytics. So what's in your show, what's on your seller hub, any analytics. When I talk about it, I'm talking about like as a whole. Indigo Project, and I'm about called you Incognito because that's what we're talking about. The Indigo Project. I pinned the live seller collection library that you were asking about. That is currently 31 different PDFs. So it's informational PDFs, some Excel templates. And then additionally, every single Friday, I do a business show in the morning and a tax show at night. All of my notes, there's usually 5 to 8 pages of notes typed up, go in there too. So every single week, you're getting additional notes based on what I'm talking about. And they are the actual notes that I use to talk through.
Confident Beauty. We use computers. I have a set of, right now, 4 computers running. And each computer has a different task. And so I utilize the computer to send the show to Whatnot. We don't use the phone unless it's absolutely the last resort.
Okay, I want to go through some, we're going to do a quick hit here on problems, common problems that we have. What do we need to look at to figure out how to fix them? So I'm not making enough money. That's a common problem, right? Most of us on Whatnot at one point in time or another says, I'm not making enough money. So what analytics are we looking at? Margins and profit per item. So we're going to look at our gross margin. We're going to look at our profit per item. We can look at our net profit. So any of your profit analytics, a lot of which you need to calculate yourself based on the information in your accounting records and Whatnot gives you. Then we're going to ask ourselves, we're going to look at those numbers. Okay, so we identify the problem. We look at the numbers that would tie into that problem. Then we ask ourselves a question to start digging into it. Are my prices too low or are my costs too high? So when we're talking about making enough money, it's going to be one of those two things that we're going to need to look at. Are my prices too low or are my costs too high? Then once you can identify that, now you make a decision. I'm changing my sourcing or I'm changing my pricing. Every problem that you have starts with identifying the problem, identifying the metrics that affect that problem or measure that problem, then questioning. Okay, if this is what this information is telling me, what can I do to change this? What is driving those numbers? Then you make a decision on what to change. So we talked about people aren't buying. We just kind of walked through that in detail. People aren't buying. That's a buyer conversion. If you have the viewers, if you have people in your room and they're not buying, that's a conversion problem. That means I can't get them past that stage of being here but not buying something from me. So first of all, I'm going to ask, are they there? Is it traffic? So the answer is yes, they're there. So it's not getting people. Then it's like, okay, I know they're there. Merchandise, pricing, retention, experience. So then I start digging into what's driving that. This is a good one, you guys. I actually have one I can show you. If I buy things in bulk, how do I price it? Low and even. And I know that's kind of, that's like, what are you talking about? You're buying in bulk. I kind of want to say, and I know this is, I have something I want to say, but I don't want to confuse newer people. What you pay for something doesn't determine what you sell it for. Okay? If it did, if what you paid for something was the sole factor in what you need to sell it for, nobody would do dollar starts. Okay? Because very few people are buying their merchandise less than $1 and able to make a profit that way. So it doesn't matter how you're buying. You're buying at the best price that you can, either individually or in bulk, and then you price it to sell it, low and even. What I want you to consider when you're thinking about your pricing, this is the formula I use, and you can use it on a very small scale or you can use it on a very large scale. What is your average cost to acquire? So if you looked at from where we, at the end of August, say January through August, all of the items you purchased, how much money did you spend to acquire inventory, what that total number is. And then you divide that by the total number of pieces that you bought or total number of lots or boxes, okay? Whatever scale you're at. That's your average cost to acquire. My average cost right now to acquire is about $2.75. So that means some stuff I pay a whole lot for, some stuff I pay very, very little for. Average across the board for 8 months, okay? And that'll vary. That as we go through each month, it's been as high as $6. Right now it's at $2.75. I'm probably going to end the month at around $3.54. Okay. Once you know your average cost to acquire something, this is on average, I pay X number of dollars for my products. Okay. Then what is your average order value? Go look at your past shows. Go take your last 10 shows or 5 shows. What's your average order value? $15, $20? Now you know your cost to acquire and what you're selling. Okay. If I know my cost to acquire is $3, all my stuff I need in my head, I need to be making 8 to 10 at least to cover expenses and make a profit, at least at a minimum. So it's not about like how you buy it. It's about understanding how much you're spending and what you're trying to get out of it in the sense of being able to price it and then using strategies to achieve the goal that you're setting, the price that you want. I just told you, mine could vary anywhere from a couple of bucks to $8 or $9 on an average. I start everything at $1, but I will also not buy anything that I don't expect to go for at least 10 or more. Anything I buy, I go by piece, between 50 and 5. So I'm all over. So you've got to go and look at what is your average. I mean, this is how I do it. I look at my average cost to acquire. I look at my average order value. As long as I have a decent spread, I don't have to worry item by item by item. I can pay $50 for something, and I have paid $50 for something and have it sell for 45, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay if I take a loss on that because I'm looking at averages because I'm making a ton more money on a bunch of other items. As long as my spread in general, average cost to acquire to average order meets a minimum to me, as long as there's a good distance between those two numbers, I don't have to worry when I'm starting things for $1 because they're selling. I've got that average order value. Sourcing often determines selling. If you want to change how you sell, it starts by changing. Thank you, Liz. 100%. Start changing it by how you buy. That's why I keep bringing live shopping into the Dollar Start conversation. What you paid is no. You should be buying smart. If you're buying something, here's the thing. If you go and buy something and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy this for $10. Now I need to make 25. Just because you say, okay, I need to make 25. One, is that item even worth 25? Is it going to be worth 25 to how many people in your room? I have done this experiment so many times. I can pick an item, set it here on the camera, and ask everybody in the room, tell me how much you would pay for this. It's going to be all over the board. You as a seller will never pick the exact right price that everybody's going to think that that's value for. There is always going to be people in your room who are going to be like, that person's crazy asking that much. And there's going to be one or two going, well, that's pretty cheap. You're never going to know what somebody else is going to pay for something. The value you put on it never is going to match the value your buyer puts on it. And what's important? What is ultimately the important thing in this equation? Your value or the buyer's value? Which one actually matters?
Remember when Vintage, she's very eloquent about one thing. eBay prices, it doesn't mean that they're selling like hot pancakes. They might be sitting on that item for a couple of weeks or even months. So one of the things that she mentions is grab a $50 bill and put it in your rack, put it in your bookshelf, and let it sit for 6 months. Is it doing anything for you?
So because the buyer determines your value, this is where it comes, I say, low and even pricing. You're better off doing a low and even pricing and letting people bid it up to the value that they're willing to pay for it. You're going to see your sell-through rate increase. You're going to see the activity in your room increase. You're going to see you moved up in the algorithm because of the activity in your room. You're going to have more sales. You're going to make more money. There's almost no downside to this. Our dollar start's hard to start with. How do you avoid selling everything for $1? BMK Treasures. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I first started Dollar Starts, a lot of things sold for $1. I even have shows every now and then that things sell for $1, particularly if I'm not in my time slot. When I do raid trains that are at funky times, I can't guarantee things are going to sell normally like my 8 or 7 a.m. in the morning shows sell for, because they're outside of my norm. They're not my customer base. But at the beginning, things may sell for $1. Be willing to take that risk. But I also want you to stop and think, if 5 things sell for $1 and 5 things sell for $5, are you making money? Are you generating cash flow? I'm not saying you're doing this to take a loss, but are you generating cash flow? If you let them sit on the shelf waiting for the right price for the right buyer, are you getting any money for that? Or is that costing you money sitting on the shelf? So when you first started $1, yes, it may take a little time to get it, but I call it the field of dreams mentality. You start with low and even pricing, and you don't have to do $1. You can start low and even. I've tried to change my verbiage on that because I know $1 makes a lot of people uncomfortable. So low and even, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever that means to you. Thank you. So you start low and even. It may take a couple of shows for people to realize this isn't a one-time deal. This is consistent. Not only is the pricing consistent, but the quality is there. You got to bring good items. The quality is there. And then they follow it up with good shipping. The first time they come to you, that first time you're doing it, There is some misconception in people's minds that if you're doing dollar starts, free shipping or reduced shipping, extremely low shipping, that you're cutting corners somewhere. You may be cutting corners in quality, in your shipping supplies, or in how you pack. It may take a couple shows and some experience for people to realize, wow, they're the real deal. They're doing dollar starts or $2 starts. They're packing appropriately, they're shipping on time, and the items are as described. So you can't expect this to be a magic thing in one show that is just going to work. It takes time for people to build that trust and know that you're the real deal doing this. And then keep in mind, dollar starts are one tool, okay, one piece of a larger puzzle. If you bring crap items, I don't care if they're $1, they're crap items. If your experience sucks, your experience sucks. It doesn't matter, they're dollar items. If your lighting is bad and they can't see the item, it doesn't matter, they're $1. You've got to get everything else in line too. You can't just pick one thing and say, oh, I'm going to do dollar starts and be successful. All right, I'm missing stuff. I went on a rant. Let me go back and see what the questions are that I missed. What did you start your items at when I started? When I first started, I've gone the whole gamut. My very first probably 8-9 months on Whatnot, I was all over the board. It was $2, $10, $20, $15, all over the board. I did the typical eBay mentality where I looked at every single item. What do I need to get out of this item? And that's what I put it in my show for. And I barely made any sales. I was a very slow grower on here because I think I did every mistake that I tell people to avoid. Then eventually I got to more of an even, and I was doing like $5. Probably about a year in, I switched to dollar starts, and I've been dollar starts ever since. I had 80 orders in one show last week. Congratulations. However, the shipping about killed me physically. Any advice for speeding up the process selling vintage? Honestly, no. Packing vintage sucks. I'm just putting it out there. We spend usually about 10 hours with 2 people shipping every vintage show, and that's about 80 items. The only thing I can say for advice in speeding up the process is to have systematic processes. Do it the same way every time. So set up a shipping station and do it the exact same way every time. The process is, the more you do it, the more repetitive, the faster you get at it. That would be my only advice. But vintage takes time to ship. It just does. That's one of the downfalls of vintage. Should you build it? No, BMK, I don't. They will come. Build it and they will come. So I am not one to say you need 100 people in your room to do dollar starts. You do dollar starts and then you start to get to people in your room. But be willing. Again, it's one piece of a larger puzzle, and there is risk to it, and you probably will lose a little money at the beginning. Know that going into it. And also, this dollar starts are not an all or nothing. Do it. Do an event show with dollar starts, or do it just when you're rated, or do it when the show's going well. You don't have to do the whole show. You can work to that. That could be a goal. You can work to it, but you don't have to jump in feet first with the whole show. You don't have to do dollar starts at all if you're not comfortable with it. I'm not telling you you have to. I do preach low and even, and I preach low and even because I've seen that work time and time and time and time again. I did $5 start and reduced shipping and lost $300 on shipping. Rhonda, I'm almost guaranteeing you that was your settings. When you say reduced, what did you have it reduced to? Did you do $775? Does it work when you have a higher start, say $8 for most of your items, and then randomly throw in dollar start? Yeah. Jules, that's what I'm saying. I personally think 8 is high, but I don't know what you have. 8 may be completely appropriate for what you have. So don't take that with a grain of salt, please. But yes, do it when you can. What do you think about doing low starts but having higher priced items in the bin? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Honestly, if there are certain items that you're like, look, I can't stomach selling these. There's just no way I'm going to do these for $1 or for a low start. There's just no way. Yeah, put them in your bin. I used to do that. I used to do a lot of bin items. I've moved away from that just as my business model has changed. Or a reverse auction. Start it high and work down low. That way you're giving the buyers a deal and you're protecting your margins. Beginning with eclectic inventory, how do you promote that show with that understanding? That exact way. What makes you cool? Why should they come to your show? Do that. Why? What's in it for them? He's bringing me stuff over here. Beginning with Christina, think about if you're going to convince me, why should I come to your show? The WIFM. What's in it for me? Your thumbnails, your titles, You're addressing the WIFM. What's in it for somebody else? So you'll see my titles will often have dollar starts, reduced shipping, free shipping, primitives. I'm going to use those keywords that I know are attracting people who want those items. So think about that when you're doing your thumbnail and your titles. Address the WIFM. What's in it for somebody? Why should they come to you? So you know your inventory. You know why it's so cool, why you picked it. Explain that somehow.
Do you want to see a sample of what she sold or she's been selling starting at $1?
Y'all, December. This is coming in December. And this will be up for $1 in December. I have a bunch of Christmas shows planned in December with nice items. This is one of them. That's why he brought over here. And the reason he brought this is to make the point that you can do dollar starts on very expensive things. It is possible. So you'll see a bunch of shows, the countdown to Christmas shows. That'll be in one of them. Are most of your buyers resellers? Yes, for me, most of my buyers are resellers. I have a large collection of resellers, or a large population. I have a smaller population of collectors that buy from me.
But that doesn't mean that they're not buying for their personal collection.
And Cam Roberts, so I have two different seller guides for sale. The guides that I have, really quick, I'm not going to go super detailed, but I have this Ledger to Leadership. This is a complete accounting course. So this is a book and 12 whatnot, hour-long whatnot shows that walk you through each chapter of the book to teach you how to do accounting for resellers. That's that one. This one here is currently 31 PDFs that have a ton of information covering a wide variety of accounting, tax, and business topics, along with some Excel sheets and all of my show notes from my 2 Friday shows I do every day, business and tax shows. That's that one. And then the other, when you say guides, the other one is the reselling workshop. This is setting up your reselling business. Tonight is night 4. The workshop gives you access to all 4 shows, unlimited access, participant guides, and supplementary material for each week. Whether it be informational material and our templates and our checklists. That's what's in there.
Bummer, babe. The raid, so basically is just become whatnot etiquette to raid after your show. And even if you only have 2 people or 1 person, the etiquette still stands. So all you need to do is just select someone who you want to go into the show, and that's it. So there's different ways depending on how you run it. If you're running on your phone, you can tap the 3 dots and then create a raid, or what you can do is just type it on the chat, / and raid.
She was right.
Whoops, Liz beat me to it.
I can hear Liz too. I don't know if you want to turn that down. We're going to raid Liz in just a little bit. I'm not scared of dollar starts. I used to be. Look, and there's every now and then when I put this up and I hit go, I hit run auction, and this is $1. Do I have some butterflies in my stomach? 100% I do. I'm human. I know how much I paid for this. But you can't focus on the decision, what you pay. You make that when you source, and then you move on. I paid for it. I'm moving on. Whatever it sells for, it sells for. I have to look at the big picture. And so far, that hasn't failed me. So far, that has worked very well. I have grown. I was saying the other day, the first 7 months of this year, I am on a growth trajectory. I am strategically each month increasing my sales and the items number I'm selling on purpose, like a strategic plan. And I had 100%, it was 100% growth since January in gross profit, 102% growth in net profit. I'm not talking here just like blowing smoke. Like, I do the things that I preach. I watch seller support shows all the time, and no offense to other shows, but I have learned so. Oh, thank you so much, a bit Dusty. I appreciate that. Have you known any sellers that have connected their Shopify? Mine's connected, actually, Rainbow. I've connected mine. I don't have a lot in Shopify. I have a few things that I have on my website. It's mainly the same stuff I have here. And I think it works great, mainly because I have a website. So it kind of connects all of it together for me. Any advice on sourcing? Like, Christina, like what's about sourcing in particular are you looking for advice on? That'll help me try to say something. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for Christina to answer, I want to show you guys something. So another thing that we talk about, let me find my right note. when you're looking at your analytics, it's not just looking at one number. We want to look at trends too. So we want to look at what's happening. One of the questions we get are, my shows are inconsistent from show to show. Sometimes it's a wonderful show, sometimes it's a bad show. But just if we even just say that, just saying, oh, it was a great show, it was a bad show, that's describing feelings. It's not describing analytics. So how you feel about a show could be very, very different than actually what the numbers say about that show. And shows may serve different purposes. So I'm going to show you on the screen just a very basic like analytic, and I want to walk you through it so you can understand how to compare different types of shows and make decisions from them. Where do you get your inventory, and how do you where do you get your, and what dollar amount will you spend? So for me personally on inventory, I get it from a variety of places. I have two I'm going to say vendors, the Professor and the International Man of Mystery, that I will get larger bulk purchases from. I go to, just started adding in estate sales. I'm still not a super fan of estate sales. I go to antique stores, garage sales, thrift stores, and I do a lot of auctions, a lot of online, not whatnot, but like online auctions through auction houses. Those are my main sources. And how much will I spend? I will spend anywhere from less than $1 to $100 on inventory, depending what it is. I have 3 rules. If you've never heard my sourcing rules, if you have, I'm sorry, you probably could repeat them by heart by now if you've heard me. But in my shows, I have 3 sourcing rules. When I go to source anything, whether it's one item or bulk items, can I ship it? Does it fit in a 12 by 12 box? Do I want to ship this? Okay, on whatnot, do I want to ship this? That's number 1. If the answer is no, I just move on. That's the first question. Sometimes I break that rule. Number 2 is, does this fit into the themes of my show? Is this in my lane? I sell vintage decor. I'm now moving into storage units, which opens up my lanes a bit. But is it glowy glass? Does it fit into my glowy glass show? Does it fit into my primitive show? Is this something I sell? Okay. If it's not, why in the hell am I even looking at it? I don't care what a good deal it is. I'm not going to go and buy a bunch of clothes because it's a great deal. I don't sell clothes. It doesn't make sense to me, even if I can flip it. This is a problem a lot of resellers get into. They see dollar signs, but don't think about what their lane is. Okay. The third thing is, I know I start things at $1. Can I reasonably expect this item to bid up over the price that I'm paying for it? Knowing that I started at $1. All 3 of those pretty much need to be a yes. If they're not, I don't buy it. So it's not that, oh, I'm only going to spend this much, I only spend that much. I may spend $100 on something that I reasonably could say, I could start this at $1 and I'm pretty confident it's going to bid up to $150, $200, if not more. Or I can spend $1 knowing that it's going to bid up to whatever. So I have 3 rules when I source. That guides my sourcing. Makes it super easy. Makes it so I can go into an antique center, boom, boom, boom. I don't have to research. I don't need to look up comps on eBay. I don't have to do any of that. It's based on experience and my rules. Did I tell you guys? Okay, I say thank you. Did I tell you guys I did a 2-person auction? Did you? Congratulations. That's awesome. Boxes, boxes, boxes. I'm not sure what we're saying on boxes. I missed that. Okay, I want to go through one more analytic, and then we do have to raid. We're going to raid Liz. It's our Monday morning raid. Show what? Yes, that's what I want to show. All right, so I want to bring this up. I'm going to walk through this. We're going to put me in the bubble. We're going to bring this very short little graph to make this easy. These are fake numbers, you guys. Don't read too much into this. It's fake numbers I created to walk through this. When you say my sales are inconsistent, when you want to talk about going from one show to another, comparing, look at, here's 3 shows. We're going to say we had a vintage variety show, we had a glowy glass show, and we had a primitive show. 3 different average revenues, 620, 850, 710, average buyers, and your average order value in that show. Immediately, a lot of people would look at this and say, oh, well, we're just going to do glowy glass shows because look, I made $850. But that doesn't tell the whole story. So if you look at the 850 on the glowy glass, your average order was 34. It was the mid-range average order value. Now, some people, hey, that's a great average order, but let's look in comparison to these 3 shows. 3 very different type of shows, but now we're leveling the playing field so we can compare 3 different shows on the same playing field, okay? I can now say, as a seller, I'm doing different things which of these things are more beneficial? Which of these three should I pour more time into? Should I increase? I can also ask myself, if I look at these numbers in connection with each other, what are they telling me? What's the purpose of these shows? If you're to look at the vintage variety, the very first line on there, you're like, oh, this is $620 in revenue. That's not much. I can make more doing another type of show. But you have the most buyers in vintage variety. You had an average of 31 buyers. But it's also your lowest average order value. So it depends, what is the purpose of the show? What if my vintage variety was for acquisition? What if my vintage variety was to bring people in and get them hooked to come back, get them liking the experience? Maybe the people who found me in vintage variety are the ones coming back into primitive spending more money, the most money. So looking at just how much did I make in a show, was it a good show, was it a bad show, isn't enough to really understand what works and what doesn't. So if you look here, if I look at vintage variety, if I want to increase, say, okay, look, I've got the buyers, I got people coming in my show, my conversion's good because I'm turning them into buyers, but my average order is down. I've already eliminated some of the problem. I've got the people, I've got the conversion. Now I need to work on the average order. What can I do to increase that? Or I could say, this is good, this is acquisition. If I look at Glowy Glass, I can be like, you know what? This looks like it's going pretty good. I'm getting good conversion. I'm making a good average order value. Maybe I just need to sell more to make this a bigger show. What am I doing that's so wonderful in this show that I can apply to the other shows? For reselling business at 49, does it include a one-to-one? It does not include a one-on-one, but you know what? I am always willing to answer questions on DM. So if you just want to DM me, I answer questions all the time. Probably every day I get 1 or 2 DMs. So feel free at any time to message me a question. As long as I can handle answering them, I will not be doing paid consulting. I take that back. I'm doing some tax stuff come tax season, but I won't charge for like one-on-ones just for this type of stuff. Just DM me. And then if I look at primitives, primitive is mid-range. You're like, okay, 710, but look, I have the lowest buyers. Well, why is that? Why can I get 31 buyers in vintage variety, but only 20 in primitive? What am I doing differently? Maybe this is a conversion issue. Maybe the quality of my items aren't really great in primitive. So when you're looking not just at how much money did I make, look at how many buyers did I have? What's my average order value? And then look at them in connection. And then it starts to allow you to compare show to show. All right, thank you. I just wanted to bring that up as an example because when you start looking at it from show to show, maybe they serve different purposes. What are you trying to achieve with the show? And what is the outcome? Is the outcome serving that purpose? How does it compare to other shows? Where should I be putting my time and efforts? They were just fake numbers. I just pulled fake numbers just to be able to talk about some examples. But if you're looking at it, I would do a consistent number. I'm going to pull my last 5 primitive shows, my last 5 glowy, and my last 5 vintage variety. So keep that apples to apples. How would you use the same analytic graph if all your shows are the same? Would you use Showtime? You can do the same thing. You can just do that one if all of your shows are the same and start looking at how those numbers relate to each other. If all of those numbers look good to you, then you start saying, well, what is the problem? What problem are you noticing? And this is when we go back to identify the problem. So if you're thinking as a reseller, what is it that's not quite right? I need more sales. I need more revenue. I need net. Creating more gross revenue is far different than having higher net revenue. There are different problems to solve. So the first thing is to identify what it is that you're struggling with as a reseller. Then you say, what numbers correlate to that? Okay, if I'm struggling with X, what numbers help me measure that? Now let me really dig into those numbers and start asking questions. What's driving those numbers? Whatever's driving that number is what you then have to fix, is what you focus on changing. Could you use this to determine what time your best show is if you don't have a permanent? You absolutely can, Angel. So if you have shows, but you have to do enough shows at certain times in order to have those analytics. So do 2 months of shows at 3 different times and then compare. Do the same type of analytics and say, well, which shows am I converting more people? Which shows do I have more viewers? Which shows am I making the most sales? And that may help you start deciding where your time slot is. You can also do it with different types of items. Maybe you're comparing, if you're just in women's clothes, but you want to know, do women's jeans do better than shirts? If you're doing just a jeans show or just a shirt show or just a baby clothes, well, baby clothes wouldn't be women's, but you can start comparing different revenue streams, different types of items within your category, as long as you have the data to support it. The key here is bringing the data together. Which one, my love?
Right there.
I just answered that. Thank you very much. You weren't listening to me. He's telling me I missed a question. I'm like, dude, you weren't listening. I answered that one. I'm on top of it. Kim, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, Kim. Thank you for being here. Susan, yeah, the time or days of the show. So I encourage you, don't just take at face value. And this is kind of what you guys, seriously, go check out the Reselling Roundtable. We did 2 weeks on analytics, and you're not just going to hear from me. You're going to hear different opinions and different views on how to use this information from I Love Discounts and Green 13, both of which are very successful in their own rights. But I encourage you, don't just take everything at face value like, okay, I made $800. Okay, I made 3,000. Well, what does that mean? Did you convert people? Was it the same buyers? Did you have repeat buyers? What else was happening in the show? What was your average order value? Like, there's so much more that you can use to get better and to make more money or to improve whatever it is that you're trying to improve. Where to get boxes for shipping? It depends on where you live. There is a ton of them, WB Mason, Granger, the Boxery, Amazon. It's really just what works for you. Are the post-show analytic pop-ups incorporated into your seller hub? Some are not. K-pop. What I suggest, when you start a show, pop out those in. Okay, on the computer. I do not know how this works on a phone. On a computer, pop out the analytics, and then click anywhere in your show that puts the analytics on the screen in the background. When your show is done, don't X out of it. Once you've rated, don't X out. Just minimize your show. You've already rated. Minimize that screen, and your analytics will stay there for a few minutes. And then take a screenshot or write down the numbers you want. That's a good way to get those ones because not all of those are in our Seller Hub yet. I have a feeling they're probably going to start incorporating it there. They're just not there yet. And Angel, Zoe, my husband answered down there for you. All right, you guys, we are going to rate. I am at time. I do have to go to the full-time job. It's Monday. It's another week at work. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for the purchases that you made. If you guys bought anything that any of the workshops or the guides, just make sure you DM me an email address so I can get that stuff to you. If not, I will DM you and ask for it. And we're going to head out. We're going to go see Liz. She's my favorite person to rate on Mondays. Another great, very, very informative talk show. And she's a good one, you guys. I can 100% vouch for Liz. When I first started on the app, I would go and listen to her to learn. So highly recommend. And she's one who can trust is going to give you very good advice, not bad advice. So thank you so much. We'll see you tonight for the final week of our reselling business workshop, setting up your reselling business.
Put some ducks in the chat when you get there.
Thank you.